Hello, 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 ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the 3-Digit World Cup 2026. My name is gamicrayola, and joining me in the commentary booth is the lovely willwam. You are seeing us in a 15 seed 5 versus seed 12 matchup. It's going to be Germany versus the Russian Federation. I think going into this matchup, it's a battle of it's a lot of proving for both of these rosters, right? I think Germany going into this 3-Digit World Cup had a lot of question marks regarding their roster because they saw a lot of roster changes. I believe 5 whole roster changes from their entire roster and losing out on a lot of hard hitters such as Tim Cagner and Kriller. However, this year, they have made us eat our words. Seed 5 is definitely nothing to scoff at, despite being, 2 seats away from their placement from last year. But nonetheless, they are definitely looking to make a mark for themselves, at least this roster. On the other hand, we have the Russian Federation, known as a very, very big host country with a booming domestic scene of their own, and because of the language barrier that comes with all of these regional Russian tournaments, we honestly don't know a lot as international casters about the Russian scene. But nonetheless, I'm definitely expecting them to really pull their weight. And even though the disparity between the qualifiers was pretty big, I believe that's around a 7-seed differential. I do think that Russia on this lower SR might be able to pull something great, especially off the back of their star player in Gamer. But willwam, I think it's time to reorient ourselves right into the bans. I believe early stage we are going to see Russia take out the Hidden 2 and Germany taking out the DT3. What are your thoughts on this one? I think we were talking a little bit about the match beforehand.
Yeah, so this is really just a battle of no mods versus mods, right? Russia really struggles on the modded picks such as the Hiddens, the Hard Rocks, and the free mods, which there are 3 of in this pool, which is gonna be a little bit tricky for them to play around. They're looking mostly at those no mods and DTs to get a footing into this match, which we can kind of see by these bans here, right? Hidden 2 banned out by Russia, meanwhile Germany opting to go with the DT3 ban here, and Germany going with the free mod 3 anti-mod old style pick here as their first pick. Pretty expected. I think Germany's going to be playing into those free mods pretty heavily in this match, and this being the anti-mod style map, Russia has to put 2 kind of uncomfortable players on this map, so a pretty solid first pick here for Germany.
Yeah, I really like this first pick from Germany, right? And not just that, you're comparing their Hidden 2 and Hard Rock 2 scores from the previous round, and you have Germany coming in at Seed 8 and Seed 3 respectively on Hidden 2 and Hard Rock 2, whereas you have Russia really struggling down at 19th and 16th respectively. So, all this just leads me to believe that Germany is a very, very clear favorite to win out Russia on a pick like this. And one thing I'd like to mention before we get into the action is with this kind of pool, we see 3 free mods all the way starting round of 16. I think this is pretty damning for a team like Russia, right? Who we've established just does not like to pick into mods. Any sort of mods is a danger zone for Russia. And so going into the later stages of the match, what this matchup is going to be decided on is whether Russia can find a point on one of the mods, and for what it's worth, they cannot afford to lose out at all on anything else. But with that, let's jump straight into the first map of this match. It's going to be free mod 3. It looks like Flare and Lion going to be taking the mods for Germany. Hard Rock and Easy, interestingly, alongside Runny Sunny being the no mod anchor. On the other side, we have Prim Mentality on the no mods, Maxine on the Easy, and Nesja on the Hard Rock. Let's take it away.
Pretty interesting to see Easies on a map like this, but it does make sense, right? These sort of patterns can get really tricky on the Hidden, so it kind of makes sense of why you would pick something like this. And it looks like right off the bat, we see a bunch of misses on the side of Russia here. CR7 and Maxim both on those slightly easier mods, leaving Nesja on the Hard Rock Precision to fend alone against 3 very solid combos here.
Yeah, unfortunately the scoreboard isn't quite loading, so we won't be able to see the easy tabulated scores. But as it stands right now, this spike comes in and Criminality and Maxim both get caught off. Meanwhile, Flair, Lion, and Runny Sunny are still holding that three-way dominance. Not quite an FC, given that early miss from Flair, but more than enough to secure an early score lead, even without that scoreboard. Nesja are trying their best to hold it together, but it just seems as though the pressure from the three-way dominance from Germany is too strong for them to come back. You're gonna have to hope for some misses, but with the stability, even with a miss, I don't think there is gonna be enough map left for any sort of comeback to be amounted at this juncture. Last quarter of the map, and it's just for style points. Flair might find the miss, but Runny, Sunny, and Lion right there to escort the scoreline very, very comfortably in favor of Russia as Nesja delivers that finishing blow and goes down.
Absolutely, yeah. It's just going to be Lion and Running Sunny holding those full combos all the way through the end here, and just really nothing Rush can do there. They just have to bite the bullet. I mean, it is Germany's first pick, and they just won it so confidently. Rush just has to figure out what they're going to pick next, and hopefully get a pick on the board right back.
Yeah, that's right. And this is definitely one of those picks, willwam, where we kind of just assume it's a GG go Knicks angle, right? We weren't expecting Russia to win in any universe, and it's a very, very crushing point for Team Germany on this free mod 3, as expected. So I don't think Russia really need to bite themselves in the back for that. I don't think they need to blame themselves for that, because honestly, going up against Germany on an anti-mod, no less, as a team that hates mods, yeah, it's always going to be rough no matter which way you splice it. But it's back onto the picking board for the Russian Federation. What do you think they'll go for, willwam?
I mean, yeah, I said at the start, they're gonna be looking at those no mods and DTs, and I think the one score that stands out to me is that DT1 from the qualifiers, where they got number 3, right, beating Germany by quite a significant margin. So I'm potentially looking at that DT1 there, but honestly, I think any of these DTs and no mods could be a viable pick for them, right? At this SR, they could feel quite comfortable on anything really, and it's just a matter of what they're feeling best on.
Yeah, that's right. I'm definitely anticipating a no mod 2 or DT1 to come out throughout some point in this matchup, right? And the thing about these long drawn out matches is that you could afford to take risks, but do you really want to take risks against Germany? I definitely don't think so. If I had to outline a sort of picking structure for Russia going into this matchup, I think their best angle would probably be a no mod 2, a DT1, DT2. Just get rid of all of your mechanics picks. Alongside maybe the no mod 1, but it's sort of dicey, so I could definitely see them ignoring the no mod 1. But the only modded pick I could see them going for realistically during this matchup is actually the free mod 2. I think the free mod 2 is their best bet if they want to pick away from either the no mods or DTs. But as it stands right now, willwam, you were right. You hit the nail on the head. It's gonna be DT1 coming in for Russia. I believe this is a very, very one of the more standard picks Maxim and Raimia to be big players for this. Not so much so Gamer, but I definitely think with the lower SR and the accessibility that this DT1 brings, Gamer can definitely shine as, you know, the certified big bird of this Russian roster. But without further ado, let's jump straight into this DT1. Aim swap time.
I think it's going to take a little bit for this map to really get underway, right? Because, you know, it is going to be quite comfortable for most of these players. So I doubt we're going to see many misses until we reach those trickier KIs. And potentially, you know, there is one or two longer bursts in the middle that might trip players up. But, you know, as it stands right now, everyone just holding that full combo as expected. But we are going to be getting into that first KI very soon, so let's see if anyone finds that break. One from Christian.
Oh my goodness, as you say that, Christian finds a miss on the build-up. Not quite what you want to see. Usually you want to see these players duke out in the KIs, but as Christian continues to find misses, you can see the clear difference in comfort. You know, you're looking on the left side, it's just Flare at a 99.81, but you have Maxine and Raimia holding an SS at a 99.28 respectively. Gamer, in fact, being the lowest score on the Russian Federation as we move into the second third of the map. Expectedly so, given how Gamer was the bottom scoring player from Russia on that DT1 in their qualifiers. But as the map continues to draw in, I mean, the lack of comfort is continuing to show from Runny Sunny, dropping below that 97% benchmark. You know, being lower than Gamer and being completely cancelled by Gamer is not quite what you want to see, especially on a DT1 that's, you know, on the shorter end of things. One large combo differences can spiral on a map like this. But the next KI is going to clock in right now as the Dispike comes in. And here we go, second KI.
Everyone's still holding that combo now. Christian finding that recovery, but if no one else finds the break, that is just going to decide the map here. Everyone looking so solid. His accuracy is ever so high, but it is Christian to find another break for the side of Germany now, and I think it may be too late now. We're going to need to see an absolute meltdown from the side of Russia if Germany wants to take this back, but Maxim is the one to find the break actually.
Yeah, I mean, Flare and Runny Sunny are still waiting for that opportunity to open. Now it's 2 FCs to 2 as Maxine continues to find misses. It is still doable for Germany given the very volatile nature of double times, but I mean, we need to see a miss from Raimia and Gamer, and it needs to come soon, and it just doesn't look like it's gonna come as the map, accessible as always, is just going to continue to benefit the consistency monolith that is Raimia and Gamer going into the last sections of the map. That's going to be another decisive point on the board, but this time going to the Russian Federation 1-1.
And just, you know, a very expected point for Russia to win, right? They looked so dominant on that qualifiers DT1, and they've come to do it again on this round of 16 DT1s to bring the score, as you mentioned, to 1-1. And now it is Germany to respond with their next pick. I mean, you know, I think, as we've said, it's going to be one of those modded picks, but what do you think they're going to lean into, right? They do have quite a lot of angles they can play here in these modded pools. They're just, you know, such a diverse selection of maps here, right?
Honestly, I think this is just a go down the line kind of angle, right? Why any modded pick is favored towards them. I was gonna suggest the RO16, but Hidden One definitely makes a lot of sense as well. I mean, I would try to make some analysis of this kind of pick, but really, that's just how favored Germany is on all forms of mods during this matchup. They might have not shown the strongest showing on the Hidden One during qualifiers, but I mean, the Hidden One during qualifiers is a vastly different map from the Hidden One we have here. I believe the qualifiers was more focused on alt and aim control, and while this one has a lot of aim control, it's more so about aim discipline and being able to hit stop patterns with it's still aim control, but it's a different genre of aim control, if that makes sense to you. So yeah, I'm not surprised by this Hidden One pick whatsoever.
Yeah, I mean, as you mentioned, it's about those like almost like snap aim patterns, and the AR9 on this is going to really benefit those who are just very comfortable on the hidden mod, which I think just Germany has a clear advantage here. So it's no surprise why they would go for a pick like this against Russia. You know, a custom map by Stupid Fembo, also known as Michaelito here. A very fun one, honestly. Dia mentioned in the qualifier showcase that it would be one of the lower scoring matches of this pool, which, you know, I think I agree with, right? It is super easy to find those sort of misses from just not being precise enough with your cursor placement, right? You, as you mentioned, you need that sort of discipline to be able to combo through large sections of this map.
And honestly, willwam, you and I are tournament players. You know how it is. This is the perfect representation of what a low SR coin flip map is. Like, we can talk about No More 1 all day, but this is the kind of map where, you know, everyone in the lobby can play. It's really just a matter of comfort, and I think it's going to be a story. I think this entire matchup is going to be a story of comfort through and through until we get to the later stages. But here we go. Celluela Shapeshifter. All this hidden one, all about, once again, the aim discipline. This map clocks in at a rather lengthy 3 minutes and 30 seconds long. So once again, it's going to take some time to heat up. An early miss from Gamer, just going to set some early tempo for this hidden one.
I think it's just going to be about who just doesn't find the misses all the way through this map, right? We're already seeing a bunch of misses from the Russian side, actually. Gimmer and Nezja now finding those breaks. Meanwhile, all three players on Germany still holding against just the one FC on Willjoy on the side of Russia here, and they're just going to be taking that score advantage. We just have to hope that Russia can combo through the section of the map, which is really just what you have to do to get a good score on this.
Yeah, but early sections of the map, we're almost to that first quarter mark, and a 50k score lead going to be pushed in favor of Germany, not just because of the combo, but because of the accuracy as well. And I feel like I'm seeing a repeat of that double time one pick just flipped on its head as Germany just pushing forward a 3-way FC with a 2-way 99 and a 98 to boot. And it's just going to continue to compound that scoreline further and further as we move into the first KI. Here we go. This is where the aim gets turned up a notch, and Nezja is going to be the first one to succumb to the KI. As you can see, the discipline very, very important here. The circles at the end of sliders really force you to follow. Bunny Sunny is going to be the next one to find a miss, and that is going to even out the scoreboard just a little bit. But once again, the accuracy safety net is just preventing the scoreline from moving at all.
Absolutely, and yeah, as we get into this next session of the map here, Germany still kind of has that advantage just based off the accuracy, right? They're all the way up there at 99.5 and 98.8, but Lion is the one to find the big... Now, that is a 3-way reset on the side of Germany, and now the combo advantage is right in Russia's hands. That score lead is less than 100k, so they have more than enough time to take this back if they need to.
Oh my goodness, Germany just found themselves overheating in what seemed like absolutely nothingness. But it just goes to show how incredibly easy it is to just blink and find the miss at absolutely nothing. But moving to the next KI, and the scoreline has comfortably shifted over towards the right side with Gamer and Willjoy at the helm, trying to push the score further and further towards their side. Bunny Sunny finding another miss, not going to do them any favors, and it just seems as though Nezja has found his footing on the map, has found his comfort. And now going to the last quarter of the map, are looking to support the backbone of Gamer and Willjoy, trudging further and further on this hidden one pick. Gamer might find a miss, but so does Lion. And it's just Sharkyu left on his lonesome against Willjoy, but he does not get far. Sharkyu finds the miss, and it's a complete lobby wipe. But contrary to what the beginning of the map might have suggested, stagnation in fact favors the Russian Federation.
I mean, you know, that ending section there is just so brutal there, and just everyone getting tripped out by it, and Russia just being able to hold those combos despite those early breaks at the start. We're just able to eke down at the score lead and win this first break point of the match, 2-1 now in a shocking turn of events. Just the RNG element of this map coming to bite Germany in the foot here.
It's always great rooting for an underdog. It's always great rooting for the lower seed. And to see Russia pull off this sort of feat this early on in the match, willwam, I don't want to say it too early, but I feel like we have a match. I think we have a match. Oh, it's so great. And you know, we didn't quite get an opportunity to say this before the match began, but Germany versus Russia, is this not the most like picturesque World Cup matchup of all time? I feel like I've seen Germany go up against Russia in so many World Cups match.
Yeah, now it's just about what Russia decides to respond with.
They have a lot of
Germany.
things. They have
Yeah,
DT2.
exactly, right. Now that they've won that hidden one breakpoint, they have DT2 up for grabs here, and still the entire no mod pool is there waiting for them, right? Like, now that they've won one of these RNG coin flips, that Germany was pretty favored to win. You know, they could easily go with something like the no mod 1, no mod 2 even, which I could easily see them doing, right? They just have quite a lot that they could go into here, but any thoughts, Gami? Any thoughts on what they will go into right now?
Dude, your opponent bans out at DT3. The only reasonable assumption if you are trying to go for a pick to really put something on the board is the DT2. Like, there is no better pick to go but this DT2 in my opinion. I was about to say, I do think the other pick that they could go for is the no mod 2 as well, and it does seem as though they do go for the latter. Just doing a quick look at the results, Russia was number 6 on the no mod 2 during qualifiers, and Germany was number 13. Now, it might not be very big because we are still at low SR, but as a lower seed, having 1 or 2 maps that really that outweigh a higher seeded opponent is very, very valuable for yourself. Not just from a, I'm a better at this skill set sort of standpoint, but from a confidence standpoint as well. It's very valuable for Russia to have these sort of picks. And it makes sense that they just want to, jump the gun, fire this no mod 2 into Germany to try to get a 2-point lead over them.
Absolutely, yeah. I do want to mention that this no mod 2 is quite a bit different to the qualifiers no mod 2 in a lot of aspects, right? That qualifiers no mod 2 very focused on the just flow aspect rather than the tapping and sitting at 180 BPM. This no mod 2 on the other hand is the type that's just very comfortable and very accessible to any good stream player out there, right? Yurish and Takoyaki both very known for making this sort of farm stream map, and this map is just filled with very comfortable stream ships, very very
it's consistency. It's consistency, right? Yeah. I think this is pretty similar to the no mod 1 as well in the sense that it's rather accessible for the players of this caliber. At the end of the day, it's just going to be a matter of how well you can hold your nerves. And in fact, willwam, I'd honestly be more inclined to believe that Russia is the team that has priority when it comes to consistency, because we saw them perform so incredibly well in that double time 1, and that is a map that requires, focus. It requires a lot of focus, and not just that, the hidden one as well. If we're talking about focus, you cannot go on without talking about the hidden one, which requires so much discipline. It requires so much nerve control. It just leads me to believe that this is a fantastic pick for Russia to hold this early lead against Germany.
Absolutely. Interesting to see Gamer not in on the side of Russia here for this no mod 2 pick, actually. Gamer being their carry performer during the qualifiers no mod 2, locking out the number 2 individual performance here. So very interesting to see that he's not in here for the Russian roster, but maybe the other players are more used to this conventional farmy style of stream map as we get right into it and you see what this map is all about. Those comfortable Axel, D-cell, farmy stream ships that all streaming players know and love, and Nezha is the first one to find the break on the Russian side.
Shockingly though, we're not seeing a repeat of history come to fruition. It looks like the double time 1 accuracy difference that went in favor of Russian Federation is now in fact going to Germany, as Nezha finds the early miss but also tanks a bunch of accuracy to boot. Not to mention, right, Ramia and Viljoy not being able to hold a key to the double 99s that they're staring down from Germany, alongside now a third 99 coming in from Flair. Nezha continuing to find misses, not quite what you want to see as we're moving into the second quarter of the map, with Germany holding a massive and continuing to grow a massive 150k lead in favor of themselves.
Yeah, what can you really do if you're the side of Russia right now? You have 398, almost 99 full combos across the board. I mean, it is just those unfortunate breaks from Nezha that is causing Germany to take a score advantage, but Flair on the side of Germany actually is going to be one finding the break. That is good if you're on the side of Russia here. We just need Nezha to hopefully find that recovery into this next section of the map as we get out of this next KI here.
Oh, the jump section! Every Dragon Force map has a jump section, and this is where the nerves begin to clog. You see the shakes coming in from Beedroid's cursor in particular, but it's full throttle back into the streams. That scoreline is slowly but surely moving in favor of the right side, but the accuracy safety net that Germany has expounded in the earlier sections of the map is really just what's keeping them in the game, and in fact it's what's keeping them growing the score further and further and incredibly fast as Beedroid finally lets go of his FC, leaving Raimia with the lone FC from the Russian Federation. It looks like a bunch of misses might have hit Runny Sunny, I'm not too sure, but what stands remains true. Sharkyu and Runny Sunny are looking to move into the last eighth of the map, absolutely swinging 1.5k combo. They are looking for blood, they are looking for that breakpoint, and they're looking to steal it right back from Russia.
As we get into this last final, most tricky section of the map, the spacing goes crazy.
Whoa.
And it is going to be Shark locking and Nezja, locking it out with the FC on this Nimrod 2 and securing that breakpoint for the side of Germany, bringing it right back up to 2-2 now. Raimia also actually locking out with the FC, sorry.
Well, I'm very surprised that Gamer wasn't in for this. I feel like if Gamer, because Gamer was number 2 in Nomad 2 during qualifiers, right? If Gamer came in for this and dropped a 900k similar to Raimia, I honestly, I definitely would have seen Russia coming out on top on a map like this, right? Especially given how I would assume that Nezja would be the one subbing out for Gamer if he was brought on to play this Nomad 2. So honestly, some question marks have to be drawn there, in my opinion.
I mean, it's just kind of unfortunate, really. I think, you know, that was definitely a map that could have gone either way, because it is one of those just comfortable, accessible maps. And when you're in a pool of this SR, you know, it's just about who can hold that map consistently, right? We didn't say it was a very consistency-based map, but just unfortunate for the side of Russia here. And we're going to be going back into Germany's next pick here, and, you know, they still have quite a lot they can play around with, right? They still have the entire Hard Rock pool available, which Russia notably struggled on quite a bit in the qualifiers. They still have that free mod 1, and they also have stuff like Nomad 3, Nomad 4 that could potentially finesse. But they're going with the Hard Rock 2 here for the side of Germany here, the Precision map, custom by Shi.
I think this is a fan favorite of a bunch of viewers, players alike. It's gonna be a Yasuta Dark Groove. This is a alternate flow aim CS7 precision map. You know, we just love this combination. I feel like we see this combination so much in the higher rank ranges, and it never gets old. You know, seeing these wacky flow aim sections coming in at a measly CS7. The comfort, you can't even say comfort on CS7, honestly. This is not even a comfort thing at this point. This is just a skill set diff at this point. So yeah, I'm very interested to see how these players perform on Dark Groove. And I will say I believe it is pretty different from what we saw in the qualifiers Hard Rock 2. I believe the qualifiers Hard Rock 2 was more, you know, rooted in, it was a more standard map in general, more standard precision map. So this Hard Rock 2 is definitely going to shake things up just a little bit.
I mean, yeah, this map just really shoves so much in you, so much at you in its short 2-minute drain time, right? There's those linear aim sections, and as you mentioned, those flowy stream sections that, you know, spacing can get insane on that CS7, so you just need that comfort, or, well, maybe not comfort as you said, but, you know, you need the ability to hit that stuff consistently to do well on this map. We're going to be seeing CR7 for the side of Russia making his in-match debut. CR7.
No, I think we saw them in the first map actually.
Oh really? Oh, my bad.
Yeah,
but yeah, he is their token precision player. Performed very well in the qualifiers Hard Rock 2, and so no surprise to see him coming on the side of Russia here.
Is this the hidden roster of Germany coming in for this Hard Rock 2? I believe it is, right?
I think so, yeah. Shark's not really known for the hidden, but definitely in for these sort of Hard Rock maps, I believe.
Yeah. Good luck, have funs are gonna be coming in chat, and at the end of the day, we are currently tied up 2-2. I really like how Germany decided to go for this Hard Rock 2 pick sooner rather than later, because if it came later, oh my goodness, the nerve control is the nerves would just take this map from 100 to 200 if anything. But without further ado, Yazata Duck Groove map, custom map by Shi.
Yeah, as we get into this map, this map throws so much at you, as we're going to be getting into. We see this first section here. All these players seem to be pretty comfortable finding that early break here, but there is still plenty to miss on in this map as we get into the linear aim section to come.
Yeah, that's right. With more and more missions coming in from Flare, I mean, it's going to give Russia quite a bit of early leeway. But we're getting into that first KI. Here we go. All about these linear aim jumps coming in. It's really, really difficult to hold precision on a map like that, especially when you incorporate the occasional flowing pattern at the end of each burst. But it seems as though Shaki and Bunny Sunny are going to be the true players to find the miss. The wide angle patterns are coming. The Kuru jumps are coming in. And the CR7 is going to be the only one to find a miss during the runtime of this KI, as Vidroy and Maxim are holding strong all the way through the precision to guarantee a score lead for the Russian Federation going into the second half. 170k and continuing to go up. Vidroy, however, finding a miss, going to, cause some rough waters for Russia as CR7 add to the toll. But Shaki is going to soften the blow, but Maxim finds the misses, a bevy of misses across the entirety of the Russian Federation. And all of a sudden, Bunny, Sunny, and Flare are looking scarier and scarier.
I mean, that diff spike in the middle is just so brutal. Doing a wiggle on that CS7 is just so incredibly tricky, and it did catch both of those Russian FCs off guard. Meanwhile, Runny, Sunny, and Flare on the side of Germany still holding strong here into this last section of the map, and they have taken the score lead back incredibly comfy as we get into more of that linear aim. Runny Sunny may find the break, but he has done more than enough with Flare on the back. But even though Flare finds that miss, it is just too little too late. That score lead has already been built up.
Yeah, and with that, I mean, Shaki cancelling out any sort of potential recovery from the Russian Federation as we move into the last sections of the map. It was looking very, very good for Russia. It was looking like they could take another break point, but unfortunately, Germany says no, and they put yet another point, taking the series 3-2. Not gonna give up that easily.
Just unfortunate. Russia was looking quite strong through that first half of the map, but that diff spike just catching both of the FCs off guard. Just very unlucky here for the side of Russia. So Germany going to be taking this up to 3-2, and is Russia to try and win back another point in this matchup. What do you think they'll go for?
Look, I want to say the DT2, right? But I don't know. Okay, look, I don't think there's a better pick than DT2 here on paper, right? But I also said that the Mod 2 was very, very strong for them, and they lost out on that. So perhaps going for a more coin-flippy pick isn't the strat. And in fact, Russia go for a very, very aggressive No Mod 4 pick. No Mod control is always such an enigma in these lower rounds, right? It's always such an enigma. When you have two teams of this caliber going up against each other, two heavyweight teams, if I do say so myself, because no mod control it's the most accessible of the control maps. It's the most quote-unquote accessible of the tag maps, because at the end of the day, it's really just you and you left to deal with the map. So I think this is probably a aggressive pick coming in from Russia. They're looking to take it out early, so that they don't have to go for a gamble later on in the matchup. And I really, really like this picking strategy.
Yeah, I mean, you've been mentioning the DT2, but the DT2 is a very control, like DT techie style of map, compared to the more standard DT1 and DT3 in this pool. So I do see why they wouldn't want to go for a map like DT2 and instead go for, they still have the no mod pool, right? And that is a pool that we said they will be picking into. So, nice to see them go into this no mod 4 here. And yeah, this map all about that slider control, right? Those sort of start-stop patterns that require just such precise cursor movement, as well as some, flowy bursts and the typical no mod 4 stuff,
Yeah. As Rook, one of the pioneers, one of the front runners of modern slider tech, one of the most well-known slide attack mappers. Just completely indicative of the style, right? It's just 2 minutes of pure slide attack. You know, you have some flow aim sprinkled in here and there, but you know, at the end of the day, this is what you show to your friends if you ever ask them, if they ask you what tech is. This is the exact map that you'll see. We're gonna see Runny, Sunny, Flare, and Sharky being maintained for Germany. Meanwhile, Russia is looking to bring in Gamer, Ramia, and Nesja for this Nimot 4. It's gonna be a very, very short map, coming in at a little under 2 minutes, so probably more volatile than DT1. Combos are gonna be very, very important, accuracies as well. So without further ado, let's jump straight into the action. It's gonna be Binmami, Sound Team, LED, Graviton.
Absolutely, and here as we get into this first section, you see what this map is all about, that sort of slider control, those doubled into slider patterns that, you know, all tech mappers know and love, and everyone seems to be holding strong. An earlier break there just needs a Ki from Runny Sunny, but it's traded by Remea actually, and the accuracy kind of doing wonders for the side of Germany here, right? Remea and Nesja down there at 95 and 97 respectively, and that is what is giving Germany that early score advantage, but it is just ever so small, right? It's only 25k, so we're gonna need to see some misses for stuff to really start happening.
Yeah, that's right. I think this is what Russia was trying to play on. They were trying to play on the more RNG nature of this Nimot 4 tech pick, and for what it's worth, they are looking to keep it close. You know, they're bringing it closer and closer. However, once again, story of this matchup, Germany is still holding on to that combo lead, that accuracy lead, but with that miss from Runny Sunny, that is going to cause the tides to shift in favor of Russia right now, as Ramia holds that additional combo, that X factor that Russia needs to bring the scoreline back to the right side. But Nesja is not going to make things easy for Gamer and Ramia, but Sharky, however, is going to be a saving grace. That miss from Sharky is going to once again push the scoreline back in favor of the Russian Federation, but it's not going to go easily, as Runny Sunny still holding down the fort with that massive 99.3% accuracy, but finds another miss. It's just a battle of misses. It's battle of combo versus accuracy. As we move into the last sections of the map, it's 2k. It's gonna flicker as Ramia finds the miss. It's flickering, but Flare at the end holds out with a 98% accuracy to just barely inch out a win against the Russian Federation, taking the series 4-2. Breakpoint.
It was just a bunch of chin misses on the side of Romeo. Unfortunately, being able to give Germany the point there, just 25k at the end there, and Germany going to be taking another breakpoint off the side of Russia here now. Quite unfortunate for Russia. It was looking so doable, but just unfortunate at the end there, just unable to eke out that point there. And now it's Germany to pick and potentially bring this matchup to match point here. They still have the Hard Rock 1, the Free Mod 1, maybe even the Free Mod 2 if they're feeling a bit risky here, but you know, they have plenty of options.
You can't even say that the Nimot 4 pick was bad from Russia. You know, I can't hate the pick. I think they were going for a very, very good idea, but at the end of the day, execution reigns supreme in a matchup like this. Now, fortunately, just swung into... Whoa! Okay. Oh wait, no, I thought that was a Germany pick on Nimot 1. Hold up. My mind drifted. I thought they were gonna do it, but they are instead going to go for the Hard Rock 1 pick. I really like this Hard Rock 1 pick. I feel like this is the first time that we're going to use a pick of before to assess how this one will go. Germany won out on that Free Mod 3 pick. It was a you know, rather unorthodox old map, map with a lot of linear aim, a lot of large sliders. This map, while not exactly featuring the quote-unquote old aspect, I do believe that this is a modern map by Shruella, or you know, this I believe is by Froz. I do think that, you know, this map overall features a lot of the same linear aim elements that was present in the Free Mod 3 that I think Germany are going to have a very good time trying to abuse Russia on.
I mean, yeah, you say that, but you have to remember, right? On that Free Mod 3, Germany and Russia both had two players without that Hard Rock mod, and although, you know, the aim style is very similar, I think the Hard Rock will make a bit of the difference here, especially on a map like this, which has some funny back and forth sliders that can easily trip you up, right? Definitely the same sort of linear style, but I think it's mostly going to be the hard rock here that favors Germany.
Well, yeah, I definitely think that there's value to that point, and gonna add one more thing. If the qualifiers results aren't a very good showing of how strong these teams exactly are on this sort of map, because this Hard Rock 1, similar to the Hidden 1, is very different from what we saw in qualifiers, right? I believe Hard Rock 1 in qualifiers was a Sugo Suji mixed slider tech map. A lot of circle tech, a lot of slider tech to add to the boot as well. As an aerial tech map, you guys know the gist. So yeah, it's not the perfect representation of what's to come, and you know, if this sort of ambiguous one slots were anything to go off of, if Hidden 1 was anything to go off of, I definitely think that, you know, what you say might be true, Will, and I definitely think the Hard Rock 1 and the more quote-unquote accessible nature of this map might be enough to inch out this point in favor of Russia. But we'll have to wait and see. I definitely think that this is one of the more question mark maps, because on paper, it should favor Germany, but Russia has been showing us that they are no slouch. And that they can actually put up a good fight on the mods.
Yeah, I think it's going to take a little bit to get into this map, as with many others here, just because, you know, as you mentioned, it is quite accessible, and I think the tricky parts of the map are really just at the end here, right? You have those annoying back and forth sliders that can easily trip you out if you're not careful, but you know, as it stands right now, this first section of the map, pretty standard, right? Just your hard rock in linear patterns, you know the gist, and everyone seems to be holding very comfortably.
Yeah, this is the closest analog that we'll have to number 1. But when the KI begins to kick in, you'll begin to see a lot more of that awkward aim that we were talking up. But right now, it's just the build up, a lot of momentum building for both rosters right now. You know, and nobody showing any form of discomfort as expected. Here we go, a moment of silence before the storm, before we get into the doubles, before we get into the cross screen jumps right now. Will anybody trip and fall? Will anybody find a miss here? It looks like everybody gets off scot-free, just the accuracy lead pushing in favor of Germany. But here we go, into the wide angles, linear aim galore.
Everyone still looks so comfortable now as we get into this slidery section, but it is lying to find the break on the side of Germany here. Actually, no one else seeming to trip up here, and that is going to give that combo advantage to the Russian side here. We're still got plenty of map left and still plenty of tricky patterns to catch people off guard, but as it stands right now, Russia is pretty securely in the lead now with 3 FCs to just 2 on the side of Germany.
Oh my goodness, Will, but I'm afraid of saying anything in favor of Russia right now. We've seen Russia take the lead on so many maps before and just have them drop it and drop the ball at the final sections. I don't want to say things too soon, but as it stands right now, 3 FCs in favor of 2. We get into the reverse sliders. Here's where the shit missiles begin to come in, but they claim the likes of Gamer. But on the left side, he takes down Runny Sunny and Flair with him. There's just another one to add to the toll of the Russian Federation, but Vijoy holding down the fort with the 700 combo to his name, surviving the back and forth sliders and just beating out any sort of recovery that Lion can begin to muster. Going to the last level of the map, willwam. Stocks are looking up for Russia.
I mean, absolutely right. VL Joy is just uncontested here on the side of Germany. Lion is trying to get that recovery combo back, but you know, what can you really do now into this last quarter of the map here? Russia just has a almost 200k score lead, and it's just going to take a miracle for Germany to bring this back.
Here we go!
More reverse sliders. Lion falls, and it's just two combos on Germany here. Vijoy looking uncontested here, still holding to these patterns where everyone else finds those breaks. And
this is his element.
Going to be the video show here. 250k score lead and rising here. And it looks like just off the back of Willjoy, Russia is going to take that breakpoint they really need to prevent Germany from taking this to match point.
Oh my goodness, Vijoy, what are we doing? Last sections of the map, last jumps is just for star points. Finally goes down at the end because you can't have nice things, but more than enough damage. Absolutely awe-inspiring. 970k from Vijoy 209. That's how you win a breakpoint, Will. Oh
my
my
God, I
goodness.
mean-
Such a pivotal point. And once again, curse of the modded one slots. Curse of all of them have gone in favor of Russia. No more one foreshadowing. No more one foreshadowing.
He's so right. He's so right. But now it is Russia to respond. I mean, they have just won the breakpoint, but this did happen earlier in the match, right? They won at one breakpoint on the hidden one to bring it up to 2-1, but then Germany just won back their no more 2 pick right after. So
They have to go for DT2.
tread very carefully here, right? They still have. I mean, they really don't have that much. The pool is getting smaller and smaller as we move into this later section of the map. They still have that no mod 1 to pick, but that is quite dicey. No mod 3, I don't really see them picking. Free mod 1, I don't really see them picking. It is really just between no mod 1, DT2, and maybe free mod 2 if they're feeling easy. I honestly think free mod 2 might be better than DT2. I mean, I think if they're holding back off DT2 so long, there's gotta be a reason why they don't pick it, right?
I mean, yeah, that's very, very true. I didn't quite think about that. And you said it before, right? DT2 is definitely more on the tech element rather than necessarily the hard mechanics. And I think hard mechanics is what Germany in particular is afraid of Russia. So in that aspect, given how you lost out on the No Mod 4, I don't think DT2 is the wisest pick. But foreshadowing! The script, it writes itself. No Mod 1 pick comes out from Gamer. This is the aura pick. This is how Russia ties it up.
Well, I mean, it could be an aura pick, but on the flip side, it could just be grasping at straws here. But I think, you know, given how all these 1 slots have played out, they are pretty confident with this no mod 1 pick here, right? It's just about that aim consistency on the no mod, right? Like, this map is going to be pretty comfortable for most players. Arguably a little less comfortable than the qualifiers no mod 1, mind you. There is quite a lot of pattern reading and overlap stuff in this map, but you know, just 6.84 stars, gonna be pretty comfortable for most of these players, I would imagine. So it's once again up to that consistency, up to those nerves, which Russia has proven to be quite strong in this match so far.
Yeah, I just love Nick pooling, right? When it's Nick pooling, you can never have pure generic maps in Nick pools. You always have some sort of gimmick, and with this one, the No Mod 1, it plays a lot of tricks in your brain, and I really, really like how it does this, because No Mod 1 is one of those picks where, you know, you're very, very susceptible to external factors. You might be the GOAT at aim, yes. You might be able to set a 1k, yes, but will you be able to perform when you're put in the driver's seat, when you're put into the hot seat? And this map really plays, it really plays on your mental, because just the way the patterns are spaced out, as you were talking about before, right, willwam, it definitely leaves a lot of room for tripping up, for finding that trip in your head. And if Hidden 1 was any indicator as to how good players can be tripped up by, you know, bullshit patterns, this No Mod 1 is definitely a very, very good candidate, or very, very good runner-up, or very good sequel to what we saw in the Hidden 1. But question marks are in the air. The win condition for Russia now stands with them winning on this No Mod 1 pick. And you guys are all tournament players. You guys understand the volatility that always comes with No Mod 1. So let's jump straight into Kininaru Anoko.
You just need such a level of focus to play this map, right? You can already see these overlapping back and forth patterns that are tripping some players off, actually just runny sunny on the side of Germany, but that is what is giving Russia the early score lead. But we can never speak too soon, right? Russia has looked strong like in the first half of this map, but fallen flat, and actually Nezja on the side of Russia is going to be finding that first break to trade runny sunny bike rack. It is still just 2 FCs to 2 right now.
Oh my goodness, like even as a viewer watching this kind of map, it's these perfect overlaps that really, really get me. But we get into the first KI, the sliders begin to open up, you know, the jumps begin to open up as well, as if it wasn't already open before. But the lead is still being pushed in favor of the right side off the back of a slight accuracy lead coming in from Detroit and Gamer. And with that miss from Flair, the accuracy lead is good. That combo, the score lead, pardon me, is going to swing in favor of the right side. But a double miss from the bottom half of the Russian Federation, and yikes! It goes straight back into the hands of Germany as the break opens up and they see the scores. The nerves begin to creep.
Yeah, they're really. We just have to hope that Germany finds a break and
Hexagon.
Russia wants to take this back as we get into these repeating hexagon patterns here in this second half of the map here. Germany looking strong with that FC on Shark and the recovery from Runny Sunny. Meanwhile, Russia just has that one FC on Gamer, but you know, as we mentioned, as we get into the second PI here, that spacing gets wider and these patterns just don't stop. It's just gonna be who holds during the second PI, but everyone just looking so strong right now.
Yeah, that's right. Stability is the name of the game. And as I say that, Gamer and Runny Sunny both find misses. However, Gamer just had so much more weight tied to that miss. And that Sharky has full control, full reign of that scoreboard. And on this No Mod 1, that is not something that you want to give up so lightly. Last quarter of the map, and that scoreline is going to continue to draw in favor of Germany. 300 and counting. Sharky might have found the miss, but Runny Sunny might have found the miss, but there is no response from Russian Federation, or at least no meaningful response, as Flair clears out Nesja's 400 combo.
That is just incredibly unfortunate on the side of Russia. I mean, this map is just so hard to be consistent on despite the low star rating, right? And Russia just unfortunately succumbing there. Germany going to be taking that breakpoint right back as they did earlier on the match to send us to match point 5.
Russia can't catch a break. They can't catch a break. And as you said, right, willwam, it just seemed as though the Hidden One, the Hard Rock One, the DT One, they were all false prophecies as Russia falls short on this No Mod 1. Unfortunate to say the very least. And with that, Germany is pushing a knife against their throats. As you know, they're threatening match point from this point onwards. For what it's worth, Russia isn't that far off from trying to get that tiebreaker, but having that sort of mental the sort of mental inferiority to Germany at this juncture is not something that you want to have, especially given how there is a 7-seat difference between you and your opponent. So Russia really need to reorient themselves and try to find a point somewhere else. And hold up! This might be it. This might be it.
Interesting pick from Germany here. There was just the No Mod 3, Free Mod 1, and Free Mod 2 left in the pool. And honestly, this Free Mod 2 is the last thing I would expect them to pick, right? It sort of leans in Russia's favor by having that prominent tapping element, right? It's that 230 BPM, but you know, I honestly don't know what they're going for here. Any ideas, Gabby?
As a team, Germany going into this pick is legitimately just trying to strong arm their way through the modded slots, right? They saw how dominant Free Mod 3 was, and this Free Mod 2 is looking to just build off of that momentum train. But willwam, I don't know if the Free Mod 2 was the right bet, right? Free Mod 1 was just staring you right in your face, and you are up 1 point, so you can't really make the argument that, oh, okay, maybe we're afraid of going into control against Russia. Because, you know, like, you have that 1 point leeway, you can afford to play slightly riskier. And even so, the risk on the Free Mod 1 pick just seems to be so much less than this Free Mod 2 pick. You are afraid of Russia when it comes to the speed. Why willingly pick into like a very, very mechanically intensive map, especially given how Russia has shown throughout the course of this match that they're no slouch on the hiddens, they're no slouch on the hard rocks. They can fight back if they play their cards right. So I don't know, I feel like there was always going to be a better pick for Team Germany in this scenario, as you said, willwam. So I don't know, I'm not particularly a big fan of this Kill 3 Rambo pick coming in from Germany.
I mean, like, the only thing I can really think of right now is like Germany playing into that roster depth that they have. But like, as you mentioned, like, Russia still has that when it comes to this R, right? You know, this map very friendly to the mods, I would say. CS 3.5, so not gonna be too bad for the hard rock player. But like, yeah, I honestly don't think Russia is going to put up a bad performance on this sort of map at all. They do have the players on the mods that can play this map very well. So I don't know, we'll just have to see and wait what happens, because I think this map can easily be a coin flip.
Yeah, willwam, like, the one last thing before we jump into the match, if there's any like upside oh, are they getting a time? I'm not too sure if they are. Good luck, have fun are coming in chat. So, last thing before we begin, if there is any upside to this match, to this pick, if Russia wins this, Germany now creates a paradox as to what Russia picks. Because realistically, they only have double time 2, and we've already established that BT2 might not have been that. Oh, okay. Hopefully, Flare is just a hard rock issue. Hopefully, a panic will settle that. But what does Russia go into even if they win this pick? I think that could be something that Germany plays off of. If the time comes for Russia to win a point against them, to threaten going to tiebreaker. But here we go, Kyoki Ranbu. This is a certified hook classic in the OC scene, all about 230 BPM, raw mechanics on the mods.
Yeah, I mean, both sides looking very comfortable. It's just Gamer there on the side of Russia to find that early break. Interesting to see Gamer take that hidden, actually. I think you mentioned that it'd be a bit shocking to put him on not the no mod, but we'll just see how that plays out as we get into this first KI here of the map here.
Yep, here we go. Full ignition. It's a bunch of large combos. 3 FCs to 2, but Gamer's combo is right there to support, right there to wait for his opportunity to jump into the scoreline. As we move into the second half of the map, however, the scoreline is going to continue to be pushed in favor of Germany as Bijoy unfortunately lets the nerves succumb to him, as well as Nezja being another one to add to the death count of Russia. Gamer left on his lonesome and not even with an FC this time. Germany 3-way FC from the no mod, the hidden, and the hard rock.
Now it's just looking dire as ever for the side of Russia here. I mean, what can you do against 3 FCs on all the mods here without any sort of combo? It's just Gamer with the recovery on the side of Russia, and with a 500k score lead and climbing, I just don't think there's any bringing this back here. Flare may find the break on the hard rock there, but it's still 2 FCs holding strong for the side of Germany here, and I think it's just curtains closed here for Russia.
Oh.
Germany is going to be taking this match 6-3 ever so comfortably. I mean, it was looking quite dire at some points. I think Russia could have taken some of those break points, especially on their own picks, right? But unfortunately, the cards did not play out in their favor this time.
Yep. I mean, there were, as you said, right, willwam, there are many points in this matchup where, you know, we could have seen Russia take Germany even farther during this matchup, but sometimes it just isn't meant to be. Congratulations to Team Germany coming up on top against the Russian Federation 6-3 in a round of 16 bracket. Russia will be dropping down into the losers bracket, and Germany will be progressing ahead to face. You know what? Yeah. I would tell you the bracket right now, but you know, I'm not built like that. Unfortunately, I'm not built like that. And yeah, very, very strong showing from this German roster. I think Russia gave them a pretty good run for their money. Not as divisive as I think Germany would have liked it to have been. But nonetheless, this is a very, very good first performance from this new German roster. And definitely looking forward to see what they do with the 3-digit World Cup moving forward. And with that, I think it's a good time to close it off. willwam, any last words?
Not really. I mean, I'm just very excited to see how both of these just teams that we didn't expect to do so well in this tournament progress into these later stages of the map. Germany, I believe, is going to face Canada seed 4 in their next week, whereas Russia is going down to loser bracket to face Philippines. So 2, I think, quite interesting matches for next week, but we'll just have to see how that goes. Nothing more from me.
Yep, some admin things before we go. Saturday 20 UTC, that is in, I believe, 3 hours. We'll see United States versus Austria-Hungary. And we have 3 more matches lined up for you on Sunday. Romania versus Australia, Chile versus Indonesia, and South Korea versus France. If you like me and willwam, check out Romania versus Australia. You don't want to miss it. It's an absolute banger. But jokes aside, before we go, do remember to check out our supporter banners. Do get a supporter banner if you want to support your respective countries. It will also help us out in giving back to the players and upping the prize pool for them. But with that said, huge shout outs to everybody involved in this match. Huge shouts to Robot Skin, I believe, for being our referee, alongside James, or our W8, for being our streamer. And last but not least, of course, willwam, for being my lovely co-cast for today. And with that, my name has been gamicrayola, his name has been willwam. You have been watching the 3-Digit World Cup 2026, and we'll see you in 3 hours. Goodbye, everyone.
Bye bye.